Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm right here with my OG, Ade Hazley. How you doing?
I'm good, babe. How you doing?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I'm living life, my best life.
Absolutely, above ground. Ooh.
And you happen to be, you had the honor of being the first male I interviewed.
Oh wow.
You interviewed.
I am honored for that.
Yeah, no, man. And especially being from the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about before we came, and I was like, man, you know what? I haven't told you face to face, but just like, you know, you find few OGs when I used to have a record store, roll around doing music and things like that. And there was few people, rest in peace to Big Al from Nemesis, you know, that share wisdom with you, not hating, not trying to compete, just like, hey, you want to know, you know, and come through with like some, you know, some brotherly, fatherly advice.
Right.
Just something that you don't want nothing from me, you just here to help.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Oh man, that's what's up.
You know, you hit me up like, yo, you want to teach yoga? I'm like, I'm always ready.
Ready.
Shout out there like
I
that.
said, oh my God, yes indeed, let's go.
and that's how I found out about you, because I was helping out, and I still am. Shout out to Hip Hop is Green, connecting the community with the resources that are here already.
Right.
So which is cool, and you were one of the people that I saw that you were doing the trap yoga. I seen that you had been doing the Rockstar Fitness for a minute. So, but me being a new yoga teacher, I'm probably about 3 years deep in that game. Just did, I actually did the second half of my yoga meditation right at V12. So it's real refreshing and real good just to have somebody like you in the community and let people. You know, a lot of people, I go around to a lot of yoga studios and hear a lot of talk about there isn't this and there isn't that. And I love being able to tell people, yes, there is.
Right.
It's out there.
They haven't done the research.
Yeah. So give them the research, straight from the source. Tell us about it, man.
I'm going to tell you about me and then we'll get into it. That'll be
yeah.
So, I mean, basically, you know, I'm a Dallas native. I've been here pretty much all my life. I'm well traveled. I've grown up in Oak Cliff. I'm from East Dallas. That's where I claim. That's where I went to high school with, at Skyline. So that's my stomping ground. I lived on the left side of the track for a long time, you know, hustled and gang banged and things like that. I see you got your Meddy Teddy ready for me. You know, I had to sit on the right side.
That was them, man. They wanted to, I told them, man, I don't know if you're going to cut for that, but they was like, man, we just want to.
I'm going to cut for that because I'll tell you why. You know, just growing up into the culture, just in general, you know, you gravitate to certain things, and we'll get into that in a minute. So basically just growing up here in Dallas, being on that left side of the track, gang banging and hustling and things like that, I got into trouble. I've been down twice. The first time I was 14 years old. I went down for a capital murder charge. They dropped it all the way down to involuntary manslaughter. That's a whole nother story, and that's where I go into the trap yoga. I own V12 Yoga. Coming from that background of being in the trap and being in trouble, I had to find a way to pull myself out of that, which is change. So through breath, which is life, the alignment, which is your plan, your flow, which is your movements, and your meditation, which is your intention and where you're going, we curated this and put it together with that music. So my particular story, I've been down twice. I faced a determinate sentence of 40 years. I did that and I had to find my way out of that. Your story is different than my story. You might have a depression situation or might have some type of challenge that you're dealing with a significant other. Whatever that is, you bring that to your practice. That's your intention. And then what we're going to do is plan a way to get out of that. So pairing that all together, curating that whole workshop, hopefully that you'll be able to bring yourself out of your trap. I really appreciate your time. I'll check in with you later. Ade, namaste. From there, I got out, went to high school, played my first organized sports, things like that. I was on parole till I was 18. From there, I went off to college. I graduated top 15% of my class in high school. So while I was on parole, I was still going to school. I know it sounds really crazy. From there, I went off to college, and that's where I started learning so many things, because we were only 5% of the people in my school were black. The rest were Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian, right? As soon as I was going to graduate, I got in trouble, went back to prison, hustling and stuff like that. We can get into it. I'll take you through a fast elevator story is what I call it. So that's why I call it, that's my master's degree. So from there, I graduated from college, then I went to prison 6 months later. Well, I'm living, I'm depressed, I have anxiety. A lot of people think that, they think a lot of me, but I'm letting them down, right? Twice now, right? So then I had to go what I call sit yourself down. I went and sat down for a minute. So I started to learn myself, and by doing that, unfortunately, that's what I say, it was in prison, that's what happened. I started to read and just investigate me, Ade. And, once I got out of there, I had anxiety attack because no one would hire me. From that, I started to I'm an entrepreneur at spirit, because hustling and being and owning my own and flipping money, things like that. So I had to, find that in myself. And a funny thing, my father told me one time, he said, you're gonna have to own your own business. I ain't never think about it like that. And then I started thinking about it because no one would hire me. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna become a personal trainer. and that's right there, the root of it. Because fitness is the base of everything. So when I say, hey, I'm becoming a personal trainer, I was like 280 something pounds then. And so I was like, I had to better myself. And then from there is how all this transpired, from that part of that. And then, just giving people the game now is because I went and literally walked through people's doors and they slamming the door in my face and telling me this, telling me that. Well, I played chess. And so I had to play chess. So I went home and got me a dry erase board, got me a strategic plan and all that stuff like that. So that, that's the game. And I feel that's where our community is missing. That right there. We can go in, I'll throw up on you.
So it was during the downtime. The downtime. Mm-hmm. I mean, at that time, did you know that silence was meditation, or were you just experiencing that for the first
honestly,
time?
Man, my father been meditating all my life. My father. Literally, he could sit in his room and meditate for an hour, and you can jump on him, mess with him, he'll just sit right there and won't move. And just clear his mind. He'd been doing it for years, but I was like, what is that? Right. I never thought about it. And then when I went to prison, what happened is that I got a lot of time with myself. I still didn't think it was meditation. Just sit quiet and do things. Like I would draw. I would drown out, not think about anything. Clear my mind. So I didn't understand at the time that's what it was.
Because when I went to 40 Cliff, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I said, what are your hobbies?
Right.
And I said, well, that's yoga.
Right.
And try to show them that they were, because I remember what you had told me is, how do we give them the experience?
The experience.
And so what you're saying is, I love it because it wasn't labeled anything, but you went with your gut.
Right.
And so where was it that when you realized, oh, that's what I was doing? Was it in a yoga teacher trainer? When did you realize, okay, y'all calling it something?
It wasn't in yoga teacher training. My wife took me to yoga. And we were sitting in there, and I was just practicing yoga. I was just going through my flow. And at the end, we were just sitting there. And it literally took me back to when I was in prison. It took me there, and I started crying. And I'm just sitting there. I was just wow, this is what I was doing. And then see, not only in prison, but while I was trying to get my stuff I curse. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to get my shit together, right? And I stayed in this 1-bedroom apartment. I was hustling. This is when I got out of prison. And so I would sit under the stairwell and like just put a word on the door and just kind of focus on that and understand, like, okay, this is what I do. I got to better myself. I need to breathe every day. Or I'm smiling at myself. You know, I'm giving myself these affirmations. I didn't know that's what I was doing.
Right.
Until I started going into yoga. And I was like, man, I was looking into that. And then so my wife got deeper into it. And that's when I started to understand this, what I was doing. And so I started to put them together. And now that's where I teach in trap yoga how that happens for people.
So what led you to bring your entrepreneur and your creativity into the yoga space? Like what was it that said, you know what? I'm gonna trap yoga on the ass.
Oh, you hear me?
Like where'd that come from?
Man, listen.
You don't gotta tell everything. The secret sauce.
We doing the interview. I'm transparent. You know what I'm saying? Statute of limitations up. I'm good. I'm straight now. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
I'm straight, baby. You hear me? I ain't even tripping. But anyway, so you know, I coming out of hustling, I worked at the club. Shout out to the Start Club. They not there no more.
Wow.
Yeah, back in the day. Start Area 5150, Area 51. I apologize. So I worked the doors for them, and with a number of guys, and that's what we did. You know what I'm saying? We was on our thing. So you can come to the club.
Involuntary personal training on people.
No, Wednesday through Sunday, I'm the doorman at the club.
Okay, and then.
So I got connections. So that's how it happened. You know, without going into detail, just put it that way. And so after that, one morning I was leaving the club. It was like 5:30 in the morning. We were leaving, just finished counting the money. And I drove by American Airlines Center, and I saw Jay Johnson. That's my guy. And Jay Johnson is the cowboy cheerleader trainer. And he was like, hands down, the first guy to teach boot camp in Dallas. Pretty much in the southern sector. You know?
That was a huge wave.
What?
Huge.
I'm finna tell you some numbers. So the reason why I worked in the club, because my numbers were really well, right, during the week and stuff like that. And I drove by, I'm already working out, bettering myself, reading about personal training, haven't jumped into the pool yet. Just reading and saying, okay, let's do this, do that. I look over there, man, he's like 130 people working out. And he got like 3 people working for him. And he's sitting over there like yelling at people, talking, laughing. And I was like, so I went and Googled and pulled it up. $180 a session for a month. And he got like 130 people out there. And they do this 3 times a week, just in that location. He had several. So I said, hey, well, I'm in the game at the same time, been to prison, so I'll start thinking, like, how can I get myself together? I'm already training, starting to want to train. How did that happen? So I did my investigation. He basically was like in the armed forces, and he comes out and teach general people armed forces, right? Mechanics, workout, things like that. So I've never been to the armed forces. I've been to prison and I worked in the club. So I was like, hey, what if I put a DJ with people working out? Call it Rockstar Fitness. Boom, there we go. So we got up to 15 locations. And this is in the 2006 to 2014 period. This is what I'm telling you. And that's how long we ran Rockstar. And so what started to happen is I started to see the market being flooded. Literally, because I'm in observation, I'm strategic planning, I got marketing things happening. I literally got it laid out, and I see everybody personal training, everybody doing boot camps. I say, hey, plus I've been going to yoga. So I was like, hey, to my wife, I said, we should get a CrossFit. And we were going to get a CrossFit. And then she was like, man, we should look and get into a yoga studio. I was like, yeah, we should. So I did my research again. Number 1, found out there wasn't only one other black person in Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex with a yoga studio. Then you think about elongation of life, things like that. So what is going to be better off for our people in general? That was the base of me getting a yoga studio. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get into yoga. Who has that background of being in a prison, going around talking to the community? I already have 15 years of entrepreneurial skills in running fitness. So to step into the yoga community would be nothing for us. Now the yoga community just have to accept us because we're just going to be who we are.
So, see, that's the beautiful thing. Like for aspiring yoga teachers, I talk to some here and there. You know, I'm growing and I'm building my brand, but they still come to me. You know, new ones.
Right.
And one thing that I can relate is what you're saying is that I carved my own lane out of necessity and out of looking at what I had.
Absolutely.
I was like, well, I do music. You saw the video.
Right.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
I want to ride that bike though.
Yeah.
I gotta ride that bike.
With so much toxins in my body, it gets hard to find a way to be healthy. But
And we can do a collab. Man, we can do something. Man.
I need like the big beach cruiser with the 26-inch 144 spoke rim with the 8 hangers on it.
With
You hear me?
system.
Solid red, baby.
You
hear me?
From like 20 miles away.
Yeah.
But like the mental tough. So what I like about your story is that one, that it always comes from heart. Like I can, from what you're telling me, and this is just the elevator. We haven't even gotten there, but I can tell that at the root of everything, you always had a great heart. You're always very smart, very intelligent, and like you said, you were tuned into like, I can't let people down. People look up to me.
Right. Even though I was ignorant, and that's different between being knowledgeable and ignorance. So I was knowledgeable about it, but I was ignorant because, you know, I had this persona, you know, my ego is what we say in yoga, you know, so I'm in the streets, it's going down, you know, period. Whatever we're doing, we're going to make a $2 flip, that's what I call it. Or, you know, we're going to get into somebody, some kind of way.
So let me ask you this. When somebody that was cut from that cloth, they come at you for mentorship and you mention yoga and that's not something they've ever done, what's the reaction? What's the response?
So I go around and talk to juveniles and stuff, right?
Okay.
You know, talk to them about yoga. And they think, a lot of times they don't know what yoga is. You know, they think it's getting into crazy, like, asanas, you know, and it's really not, you know. And that's just some extended more to it. Right now, what's everyday yoga that you're dealing with? Breathing, focusing, your alignment, right? Those are the things we deal with. So I hone in on those when I talk to somebody who knows nothing about yoga. And when I do that, they're like, oh, okay. Or they see myself and they're like, damn, I don't even practice yoga. I get that all the time. They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. You should try it. And so, you know, just that approach brings their character down, and I'm able to let them know this is what happens.
But I mean, the beautiful thing is that if it wasn't you, the chances would probably be lower of them actually listening.
Very slim.
You know?
1 out of every yoga teacher is a male. 0.5 out of 10 is African American.
And that's why I find it so important to share with, you know, my friend and I were at a hip hop event, and it was cool, man. It was just a bunch of kids breakdancing and stuff and whatnot, and we were just talking about how people just need to know that it's there. A lot of people complain, oh, there's not, you know, these opportunities, but it's so beautiful that you can say, like, actually, there's Pan-African, there's knowledge over there, there's V12, they teach trap yoga, you know, there's all these different resources in your community, and, you know, just being able, because, I mean, wouldn't you say that now, what you're doing, and what I'm trying to do, and what other people are starting to do was not around when we were growing up?
Oh, no, it wasn't. And then, you know, there was a big divide there, too. And by it being a big divide, you know, we didn't look over there to do it. Even though it was in our culture.
Generation, it was a lot of gangbanging.
Absolutely.
A lot of violence.
Absolutely, because the majority of the men were taken out of culture at the time due to the 70s and things like that. So then the 80s, the kids grow up with no father. So what else we gonna do? Organize, right? You don't have no leadership. Organization is nothing without leadership. So now we got a problem. The people who were doing it was not really coming back to the hood and saying, hey, you should try this. Pick them up. And so that happened in the music industry. A lot of times that's what you hear about. And so in order to change that, right, you had to go to the hood and say, hey, come up here, man. Try this. Look at this over here.
And that's why I started doing what I was doing, because I realized that through music, everybody was growing with their brands, but what we were doing, there were a few cats out there, like, you know, shout out to Cold Syndicate, been doing the Toys for Tots for years. But, you know, there was only a handful of people, but I was just like, what can I do daily without having to tie into music that still allows me to be me?
Right.
Tap into hip hop that allows me to, like, hey, eat healthy, be healthy, prevent, you know, for instance, Texas, you know, they try to put so much cops as opposed to giving us resources that will prevent the violence, not stop it when it already happened.
Absolutely.
But how to, you know, so it's so good to see, like, you giving me opportunities. I went to Fort Oak Cliff. That was a huge blessing just to be able to walk into that and seeing, like, man, this wasn't around before.
Hey, I knew you were going to be perfect for that, too.
I was like,
she
man,
called me, too. I couldn't do it. I was like, hey, I got the perfect person. Hold on. So I shot, so they'll be calling you, they'll use you. Because Muffin and Pooh, shout out to them, what they do is help me in organizing me with a lot of events and things like that. And so they're the ones that help me get into the juveniles. We took Bebe Kid Foundation over there, so they are the leaders of the Bebe Kid Foundation. And that's where Trap Yoga donates money to that, and anybody can donate money to it. We take that money and then distribute it out throughout the hood to different non-profits. So that's what we do. That's another thing in Trap Yoga. But Bebe's Kids Foundation, that's one thing.
But that's what I love about you was that, like, you, like, I love learning that from you, because you just go straight to work with what, you know, you're already like, this is who I am. They like it, they don't have to come, but I'm gonna do my job. Whereas, like, for a minute, I'm not gonna lie, I was stuck like, well, how do I, you know, I was trying to fit into, and then when I talked to you, I was like, I don't need to fit in. I'll make my own. I'll make my own.
Absolutely.
yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
you know, that was very inspiring, just to see that you always went straight to work on keeping the main thing the main thing. I'm here to provide the knowledge. You know, you realize that you were blessed with this knowledge from, you know, wanting to be successful and, you know, going through the experience of, you know, your training in the joint.
And the vacation.
Yeah, in the vacation. But, like, I mean, it's that, because that's what I try to preach is mental toughness.
Yes.
Because you know how a lot of guys, you know how toxic it can get. We all try to say that we're tough, but are we communicating?
Right.
Are we expressing what we really feel? Are we holding back from doing something that we might regret later amongst a community that is ours?
Right. And see, a lot of things is transparency. We're not transparent. That's just like me looking at you and then you get mad because I looked at you instead of saying, what's up? Right? So you think I see through you and think I see your hurt. And so that's why you turn around and get negative. And instead, what I do personally for myself is say, what's up, man? And smile. Because it throws people off. And I know it does. And so I do that, so then you let your guard down. And then you're like, damn, hey, man. And it could be a complete stranger. By me practicing that, it betters the whole community. Just one person doing it.
No, I mean,
it's
true.
That's where the transparent, because we're raised to be like, I was raised with mother and father. My father is a counselor, so I understand like difference between anger and hurt and things like that. My mother was a very strong woman, slap you in your mouth, you know what I'm saying? Talk back and things like that. So I had to balance out the two, right? And so I see, what if someone didn't have that balance? And they would just talk this one thing. So how are you going to change that? Well, you got to bring their guard down some kind of way. And that's a 3-second situation. So you see it. 1, 2, 3. done. All you can do is say hi and keep going. Count how many times people don't say hi to you during the day. It's crazy.
Or smile back.
Or smile back.
Or look up.
Right. So that right there is just a little bit into the character they might have, as like that ego's there. And so, personally, how I face that, I'm married, my wife, Veronica, love her to death, that's my baby. I had a big ego problem, and my wife is what grounded me with that, Like I had to bring myself out of what I was dealing with, because my relationship wasn't gonna work, my business wasn't gonna work, right? And so that's a number one thing in our community, that we got a major ego problem. And if we can be transparent and come out of that and still be confident, see, confidence and ego, that's two different things, right? If we can be confident in what we do and not egotistical in how we do it, we'll be all right. So she grounded me with that, And so I had to be, it was hard for me. I'm a man, I'm a man, so it's hard for men to say.
I mean, think about all the men that go around without someone to balance them out.
Come on now. Now you see what's happening.
Yeah.
Now you see what's happening. So if we can get into what we're doing right now and taking this back into our community and saying, hey, try this. Yeah, hey, try this, Yeah, we're yoga teachers, we're into meditation, things like that, but hey, we're businessmen too. Hey, we know exactly what's happening, and we're conscious about what's happening. So how does that happen?
No, I think it's a beautiful thing, man. And I think it's beautiful when we help ourselves. I recently, the party that you asked me about, like I actually got, I didn't get it because I'm not the main person promoting it, but they were telling me, oh man, people coming back with all kinds of heat because it said POC only.
What, POC?
People of color only.
Oh,
But everybody is allowed. But then people went quick with the can I be the one white slave there? And I'm you weren't gonna come anyways.
Yeah.
But you had something to say.
See, I'm in a fraternity, a black fraternity, so I know about that.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I say that to say this, is like people might get mad about something that they don't understand. And have something to say.
Right.
But like if they are open-minded, they can see that we are doing the work to heal ourselves, and we are better fit to create these safe spaces. And when we say safe spaces, we're not saying it in a way that says you're violent. We're just saying it. We're saying it in a way so we can have a flow.
Yeah. And see, a lot of things happen when, for me being in a black fraternity, right? So, a white member come in. So then you'll see how people feel. Well, originally, our fraternity was African-American fraternity. Now, as we going through the years, it's still an African-American fraternity that allows other colors to come into the picture, right? That's what you're doing. A lot of people don't understand that. Right. They're not going to understand it. And how do you, process that, and how do you approach that? And if the way you have to do it is the way I did it, is say, hey, this is how this is, but let me go put somebody who you familiar with in your face. And then you come over to me. And so now they come to me. Because now I didn't put POC on there, but they know this is an African-American fraternity, but now you see a white guy there, right? And he just invited you over here. So you like, what the hell? Yeah. Threw him off. And so that's what you're doing. And some people gonna like it, and some people not.
Well, I mean, I told people, hey, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but this is a common thing in the coast.
Yeah.
That happens all day, and white people go and have a great time, and none of this dialogue, but I get it. It's new here.
But look where you are.
Texas.
In a Bible Belt. You know what I'm saying? You're in Texas. Guess what runs Texas? That network.
But what I'm saying is, that's what I love about the work that you've done and put out, and the seeds that you've sprouted, and what you've kept watering, because not everybody's gonna do that. Some people get very comfortable, like, oh, I got the bag, I'm good. Yeah, peace. Yeah.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I thought about it.
I mean, yeah.
I thought about it. I thought about it. I don't think that I would stay relevant for one, or I would be happy for two, right?
Because it's hard, because you don't want to go back to something where there's like some things don't change,
right.
And you don't want to be around that toxic stuff,
right?
But you do want to be able to say, if you need the help, here it is, but
Absolutely.
you got to do the work yourself.
You got to do this, and that's where the trainer part comes in on me. So being a yoga instructor and also being a trainer first, I tell people all the time, I'm a trainer first, yoga instructor second. So being that, I dab in self-development. And by dabbing in self-development, I get to see what people are doing in their garden, right? So, they have a garden. So I can say, hey, yeah, that's a weed right there. Let's get that weed and pull that out, right? And once we start to do that, and now we're facing ourselves, right? Because you can't lie to yourself. And so once that happens, then we're able to flourish. And if you take the weeds out of the garden, everything sprouts, you water it. And so that's what I see myself doing. Because I've been through that journey of, being in trouble, doing this, hustling, and then losing my money, and I came out of prison with $1,500 to my name in toothpaste packets. People wouldn't have been in prison over time then. Yeah.
Wake up. Wake up. Don't do it. Don't get caught up in a trap.